It's okay. All right, we are live. Well, I believe we're alive. We'll find out soon as when we look later and we'll see what people are saying while they are watching us. So lovely to, well, technically meet you, Fazila, because
Yeah.
it's the first time we're seeing each other.
Yeah. It's lovely to meet you too.
Um, you are how old?
I'm 23.
23. So that
Yeah.
puts you firmly in the Gen Z generation, yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Yet somehow you've completed coach training with us, or you're still in progress?
Yes, I have. I have
Okay.
completed. Yeah.
Okay. And how many hours of coaching do you have so far?
Practice coaching?
Yeah.
78, 79.
Oh, wow. So you're almost at ACC. So
Yes.
I wanted to start with that.
Mm-hmm.
23, finished coach training. And from what I hear from your trainer, you finished coach training with flying colors and did really, really well, to the point where your trainer, who I should say it was Priya, and
Yes.
she's one of our most experienced trainers in terms of she's trained the most people for Cocharia. So no matter how you look at it, she knows what she's talking about. And she
Yeah.
thinks you're pretty great. So I wanted to start with this to kind of, show a few ticks of approval that at 23, you do know what you're doing.
Thank, thank you.
Would you agree?
Learn from the best.
Nice. Um, because the reason we are here today for this particular session is to talk about young coaches. And I mean young, like super young. Like, I consider myself young. I'm
You
41.
are. Age is just a number.
Exactly. But we're not even talking about me. We're talking about people your age, in your generation,
Yeah. Yeah.
who are well under 30, in your case, under 25. And it
Mm-hmm.
may sound a bit crazy to say that you are a good coach or that you can be a good coach, because
Mm-hmm.
the perception of coaching, I mean, depends obviously who you ask, but I would say in general, you think about someone who has had, quite a bit of professional and life experience.
Yeah.
And then because they've discovered something about themselves, they get into coaching
Mm-hmm.
others. So
Yeah.
that's kind of I don't want to call it stigma, because it's not stigma, because we literally
Yeah.
at Coach Arya believe anybody can be a coach. So, keep coaching until you're in your 90s. Right. Um, so let's talk about your generation. What
Uh,
do you think makes a Gen Z coach, Gen Z, Gen Z, depending where you're in the world, what makes a Gen Z coach a capable coach?
so personally, I have a psychology background. I did my bachelor's in psychology, and I wanted to take it from there, help people, and life coaching was something which intrigued me in the moment. And now I'm like, that's all I want to do. uh, but as a coach, I think people think that in a coaching session we give them advices and what we can tell what's wrong with them and all of that, which is not at all the case. We help them find their own answers. And uh, as a Gen Z, because especially I haven't seen the world and I have no filters, when I'm with a client, it's just me and the client. There are no past experiences, there is nothing. That's the true coaching relationship we'd want, I think. And that is just amazing because I have been able to achieve that true unconditional positive regard, because again I have no experience in life. And while learning, one of the most common things I've heard from my peers were to unlearn these things, to unlearn to have those filters during a session. And as a young coach, that just came naturally to me.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. So it's just, yeah, that just, I think that's an ideal coach state.
Ideal coach state, yes. We shouldn't
Yeah.
say ideal coach, because, like we said,
Yeah.
coaching is all inclusive, and
Yes.
Yeah, at Coach Arya, we truly believe that anyone can learn and be a
Cool.
good coach. But it's a really
Yes.
good point you bring up, because in coach training, yeah, that's kind of one of the key things that you learn about. It's how do you kind of separate yourself? How do you remove judgment? And how do you stop your past experiences and
Mhm.
your view of the world, of kind of how do you stop it from encroaching on what the client is saying? And the more
Yeah.
of that you have to put aside, you
Yeah.
think the harder it is to do.
Yeah.
So tell me, how was the dynamic for you in class with, the mixed kind of ages of coaches, as well as when you work
Yeah.
with clients? Does anyone ever go, oh, you're too young to work with me?
Yes. Yes. There has been so many instances where uh, because I kind of do it online and I don't post myself, it's just an ad for free coaching, or
Mm.
a coaching session or something, and when they show up for the first session, they're like, oh, okay, you're gonna help me get my life together. I haven't been able to do that for past 20 years. And I'm like, let's just start. And one of the amazing things Priya as a coach and a mentor has taught me is just bring it up. Just, get it out of the way, and, get on that level with your client, and it'll be fine. And that's kind of helped me so much, just to be there and even help the client themselves to relax and connect with me so we can work it out together.
So you bring up age directly in the beginning of the session.
No, if I sense it, if I sense them being a bit, you won't understand, or this happened, you won't get it, I'd be like, why would you say that?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that for a moment? And it most of the time it works out.
Is there a time where you can think of it didn't work out so well?
uh yeah, there was no second session. It's all
Got
right,
it.
that's fine.
It happens, right? Happens to everybody.
Yeah.
It's why in coaching,
Yeah.
the first thing is a chemistry session.
Yeah.
That's okay. Pat on the back. You'll be okay. Um, so you mentioned sensing just now. That's interesting that you
Mhm.
said, if you sense that that's something that is important, which is already funny enough, because, we're doing these things virtually, like this on
Yeah.
Zoom, etc. So saying that we can sense something already sounds crazy, but I know it's true because this is my life basically, and
Yeah.
I get it. So do you think your you keep saying lack of experience. I mean, you have had a life, so let's not diminish that. But do you
Mhm.
think that your relative lack of experience
Mhm.
is does that make you more sensitive? You think to these kinds of things, or less, or different? I'm curious, like how, your perception of you picking up things from clients. Is there something that comes up for you?
um Actually, I've grown up amongst three brothers. And it's just like the house environment, like, where you have to uh, live life a certain way, and you have to see for cues, and it's just a part of life, especially as a Gen Zer, where the way I think is different than most people in the house. So just before I have to take any decision, I have to sense the environment of the house. Is mom in a good mood? Is dad in the good mood? And then we go and bombard our ideas. But yeah, it just comes naturally to me, and I'm okay with whatever comes afterwards.
Hmm.
Because again, it's out of my control. I
Yeah.
know I'm doing my best. I'm doing what's correct in my perspective, so it's okay, whatever and however it turns out.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, you sound pretty confident, and you sound not even that. You sound comfortable with
Mhm.
yourself, and
Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, that's what kind of coach training helped me with. Would you
Yeah.
agree with that, or were
Yes.
you always like this?
No, no. I've never been very comfortable with uh, this, but coaching the ICF competencies themselves, like they are so just to be a normal human. Like it's not even, going out of the way to be something you're not supposed to be. It's very human. And just practicing that for so long is kind of instilled in me in a way. So I think that helped me to be what I am today.
That's great to hear. And you mentioned that already in your house, and the fact that you are of the generation that you are already makes you think different. Can you elaborate on that?
Um, so I don't want to sound someone who's bragging about Gen Z,
It's
but
okay. You stand your own. Stand up for your people.
uh, yeah, it's just this generation. We are not afraid to do things. If we think we want to do this, we'll do it. Like before, when someone's child would say, "I want to be an astronaut," and then it would be a joke. Yeah, my child told me they want to be an astronaut. Right now, if a Gen Z tells you they want to be an astronaut, they're going to be an astronaut. So like we're not afraid to do things and make things happen. It's just how we are, and thanks to the previous generations, I guess, because they've laid down the foundation of today's world so strong that we can confidently be whoever we want to be.
That's very nice. I'm going to accept that on behalf of my generation. Although I would also say that we messed a few things up in terms of not necessarily my generation. I'm going to just blame the older ones. Kidding, just kidding. We're all contributing to the bad
Yeah.
and the good. But I like that. It's you just like in coaching. I think you when you're becoming a coach and also when you're coaching someone, like there's
Hmm.
continuous growth. It's not like this thing that
Mm.
happens right away. I like
Yeah.
the kind of parallel with generations as well. Like we all build on each
Hmm.
other's experience,
Exactly.
hopefully, because if we're not,
Hmm.
then what the heck are we all doing?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you are now very close to your ACC, so you'll have your
Hmm.
coaching credential, which is great. Um,
Yeah.
almost congratulations. But
Thank you.
congratulations on your growth and on finishing the coach training because that's a feat in itself. I mean, it's definitely
Hmm.
demanding, and I'm glad that it's helped you with personal growth, etc. What what challenges like what do you want to do next with this ACC, and what challenges do you see in your way because of your age and experience?
Hmm. So far, it's very difficult for me actually to get clients so easily. The all my clients have been people I know or people around me, and I kind of want to work in a way where this generation is not looked at as people who don't know or people who need to be taken care of actually, because most of the time we are told what to do, even though we don't end up doing that, but we are told what to do. And if we don't do it the way others did it, it's apparently not good enough or not right on its own. So it's just as a coach, I kind of want to work more with Gen Z because, again, today the choices the Gen Z is going to make, that's the world you're going to live in 20 years from now. So if we can make it amazing, efficient, and what they exactly want, like we want to work towards that.
Hmm. So do you think that, I mean, it sounds like, individual level totally makes sense to
Hmm.
me. What do you
Hmm.
think about companies hiring Gen Z coaches for their Gen Z employees?
That should happen because we understand them. Like our struggles are kind of different, right? Like before it was a lot of before it was a lot of physical struggle, physical labor, things happening. But right now, most of the things are mental, right? And the things, there's a lot of mental health issue going on with Gen Zs and all of that. So when a Gen Zer speaks to a Gen Zer, like they know that this human knows what I'm going through,
Mm.
like kind of exactly knows what I'm going through, or they know how I feel. And the comfort thing just happens because even when I started coaching and I did it with someone older than I was, I kind of had a feeling for a couple of sessions that what if they're judging me on the way I'm saying, because I didn't know what coaching was back then.
Yeah.
So I was like, what if this, what if that? But I know when I'll do it with someone who's lived a life like me, it'll be more comfortable, and I'll be more comfortable coming up with new things of what I'm thinking or different ways of achieving my goals and stuff like that. So I think that would be amazing if companies would hire young coaches. It'll just boost the efficiency, I guess.
You know what just came up for me is like we talk about coaching and the coach being the mirror of
Mm-hmm.
the client. That's our job, right? To be the mirror.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why we talk about, removing the other stuff, because our
Mm-hmm.
job is not to bring our stuff, right? So you mentioned in the beginning
Mm-hmm.
that uh Gen Z coaches are,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have as much to remove, so it's already
Yeah.
easier, which I think is great. But
Yeah.
the other thing that's just occurring to me is that that concept of a mirror, it kind of
Mm.
applies at all different ages. And,
Mm.
it's not just your generation, but you as
Mm-hmm.
a woman, and you
Mm.
in a headscarf, and, you
Mm-hmm.
know, or me as a crazy Polish lady with now pink hair and no filter, whatever. We all need a mirror. And it's
Yeah.
what I think is pretty cool that's happening in coaching. And I hope it continues. And Coacharia, democratizing coaching is our mission.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the more types of people that we see in coaching, I think the more accessible it's
Mm.
going to be, because
Yeah.
we can be a close enough mirror to the client where they don't have to
Yes.
have that big leap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd argue
So
that
true.
it's just as annoying or difficult or frustrating for a 23-year-old to be coached by a 55-year-old than a 55-year-old being coached by a 23-year-old.
23-year-old. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we all need a mirror that
Mm-hmm.
kind of reflects
Yeah.
us.
So
Um,
true.
yeah. So, what do you want to do with your coaching? What's your aspiration with this?
So actually, right now, one of my peers in while coaching with Kocharya, we both of us are the only young people in the group, and for our assignment, we got this topic of coaching Gen Z, and the response we got from the cohort was so amazing. Like the insight other coaches got through our presentation, we were like, we need to do something about it. And right now we are actually running a Facebook group called Gen Z Support Space, where we want to create an actual space where Gen Z can come in and have the support, because there are multiple mental health pages and quotes and videos, but there's no one space where someone can be like, I'm going to go there and I know I'm going to get help there, right? So we're kind of creating that kind of space. It's still small, but we are working towards it, and it's going amazing. So right now we have started working with Gen Z. Um, let's see how that goes.
Excellent. And make sure that after this video recording is done,
Yeah.
that you go on Coacharia socials and you add a comment with the links, so everyone who's
Yeah.
watching can take part wherever they
Okay.
are in the
Thank you.
world. Yeah, that would be
Thank you.
awesome. So, are there any specific insights that the coaches you mentioned in your cohort
Mhm.
that they shared that you would like to share with everyone who's watching?
So one of the things which actually stood out for me was one of our one of our peers. He had a child, and they told them they wanted to be the prime minister when they were younger, and they laughed it off. And after a presentation, he went into that reflective state, and he was like, I could have just asked, okay, what to do about it? That thing of, okay, you want to be a prime minister, let's do it. Sometimes you just need that, and just knowing that Gen Z will do it. So just be there for them. And we are not afraid to make mistakes. That's one thing you should know about Gen Z. If we fail, it's kind of like, okay, what do we have to lose? We are very young, and we don't really think about what's at stake. We just do things. And most of the
For
time it
better or
works
for
out.
worse.
Yeah. And most of the time it works out. So yeah, as coaches, I know like it's our by default duty not to judge, but just knowing that no matter how bizarre they may sound, they'll do it. Just trust them a little more. It just helps the process when the coach themselves trust the client and their goals, and it just happens so naturally. So yeah, that's one thing any coach should take away from this.
And any employer who's thinking
Yeah,
about
actually,
Gen Z
yeah,
people,
anyone
it,
around a Gen Zer.
yeah, it sounds like people in your generation, like coaches in your generation, I should say, could
Hmm.
throw you into the deep end,
Yeah.
and you're like, difficult client, bring it on.
But yeah, exactly.
Love it. Um, Fazila, lovely to speak with you.
Thank
I think
you.
it's really, really cool that you had this idea of becoming a coach, and that
Thank
not
you.
only you learned, but you taught and are teaching others
Hmm.
that not only, is someone just out of uni type age capable. I would argue even younger, because actually right now I believe she is 19. Or yeah, that's our youngest learner that is
Wow,
enrolled right now. There
amazing.
was someone who's 21 who joined, I think, in August, and I think there's one who's 19. And
That's great.
the first question was, "Oh, am I allowed to
We
join?" It's
are
like,
growing. We're taking over.
but that's great. Like
Yeah.
that's what's going to help coaching spread
Hmm.
to different
Yeah.
people, different income groups,
Hmm.
different cultures, different generations. Like,
Exactly.
we can't reserve this amazing thing that we know and love, which is coaching, for people who have had, decades of experience under their belt. The whole point is helping others
Hmm.
make themselves and make their lives better, right? Like,
Yeah.
help them
Yeah.
grow. Everyone
Yeah.
deserves that, not just us older
Exactly.
fogies. Awesome. Fazila, any parting words?
um, it was amazing. This session was amazing, and hope whatever I said was useful to literally anyone who's listening. I'm sure it is, because the Gen Z is everywhere around you. So I think it will be useful to everyone. And also, we are kind of doing this seminar where people can have an insight in the Gen Z world, which is this Sunday. So I'll probably drop that in the comment too.
Excellent.
And please join us. It's for everyone. It's like, you'll have a blueprint of how we work, and maybe you can help us be the amazing self we want to be. And it just makes the world a better place, actually. So yeah, join us. You can find me on LinkedIn. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Excellent. Thank
Pracharya.
you. And it's literally makes the world a better place, because, like you said in the beginning, you guys are shaping what's next.
Yeah.
So the rest of us can either support you, or we're all screwed.
Exactly.
Just kidding. We have to work together. Thank you so much, Fazila, and thank you so much
Thank
to
you.
everyone who's watching and listening. And we
Thank
will
you.
see you, or I will see you here next week, same time, same place.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fazila. Bye, everyone.